It's your old pal Uncle Matty, and I want to get into Kanye West. Uh, Kanye West, up until the Alex Jones episode, actually no, correction, up until the Tim Pool interview, I was ready to pull the trigger and vote for him over Trump. Uh, don't Unlike the left, we here on the right do not view our political leaders as gurus, as sacred, as something to not be questioned, to be followed blindly. When they do something wrong or stupid, we will call them to the carpet. My problem with Trump comes down to a question of loyalty. Trump will shit all over people who are loyal to him to a fault. People who will literally take a bullet for this asshole. He will dump all over. While people who are actively trying to fuck him every chance they get, he cozies up to. He gets right back into bed with the rhinos. Now, I am for the movement, the MAGA movement, but not that I'm starting that because I knew what Trump was all along. I really did. But when I voted for Trump, at that point I was an anarchist, and I still am. To be more specific, I'm an agorist, which is black market anarchy. All I was looking for was a wrecking ball, someone who was going to do as much damage to the system as humanly possible. That's why I voted for him. I voted for someone that was going to do damage. That was it. Michael Moore, in a rare moment of cogence and eloquence, stated it best. There was an interview that Michael Moore had done, and if you haven't seen the Michael Moore commentary on Trump, you should watch it. Prime example of the broken clock theory. And in the interview, he says that Trump is an anarchist. He called him an anarchist. And he said that Trump was the Molotov cocktail that we get to throw at the system. And that's exactly correct. So if you haven't seen the Michael Moore thing, I know I don't like Michael Moore either. He's a fat, disgusting pig of a man, but just horrible person in general. But he was dead on in that interview. And if you haven't seen it, look at it. So at any rate, along comes Kanye. Okay, Kanye comes along like, I don't know if you've seen that movie with Will Smith, Hancock. Along comes Kanye, and freaking Kanye was making sense. He's like the anti-hero in this story. He comes along. He's got his moments of cogence. When he's, like I said, under a minute, he's dead on. It's like, wow, yeah, right on. But as soon as he starts rambling, goes off the rails. Well, at any rate, he goes on Tim Pool, and he's got Milo Yiannopoulos, and he's got Nick Fuentes with him. Okay, now I don't know much too about. I didn't up until this point. I didn't know too much about these assholes. I hear the left bringing them up all the time, and in my mind, if the left is talking shit about someone, they must be good guys, right? Not in this case. No, they really are assholes. They really are evil assholes. Now, Nick Fuentes and Milo Yiannopoulos are not only anti-Semites, but they because when the left said it, I'm like, okay, that's anti-Semite name. Oh, that's their definition of anti-Semite. No, they really are. And when Trump turned his back on him, and don't forget these Trump will shit on anyone that's been extremely loyal, and they were for all their faults, they were extremely loyal to Trump, but they shit on he shit on the wrong loyalists in this case because they're vindictive and they're looking for revenge and they're trying to destroy him now. Okay, and they're trying to destroy not just him, but the movement and everyone that's loyal to Trump. And they're doing it in a spectacular fashion using Kanye. Now, Kanye uh, 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 was already at the breaking point. A lot of what he says about how he was treated is true. They tried to have him committed because of his political beliefs. I think they demonetized him, deplatformed him, debanked him. I mean, everything. So they pushed him into the disease. Really, I really believe that they pushed him into schizoaffective disorder. And Nick Fuentes and Milo Yiannopoulos just came in. Like, in other words, the left operates like a cult. They'll break you down, and just when you break is when they come in, and they become the father figure. Just like a cult operates. I think Kanye escaped one cult just when he was at his breaking point, and then two other cult leaders from another cult came in just as he was about to break, broke him the rest of the way, and took over from there. I think he just escaped the one compound and ended up in another. I think that's really what happened with Kanye, because these two guys are really scumbags. Really scumbags. Especially Fuentes. Fuentes reminds me of a radio shock jock with a crack whore about to stick a banana up her ass in the studio. He's got that look on his face, that overbite, like, come on, do it, you'll hear anti-Semites talk about the happy merchant. He's got that happy merchant look on his face. If you don't know what the happy merchant meme is, it's a picture of a hook-nosed, Jewish-looking individual rubbing his hands together, and he's like what he's accusing the Jews of being. He's like, you could see him rubbing his hands mentally in that look. That you'll see it on Howard Stern all the time. Every time there's a crack whore about to jam a banana up her ass or deep throat salami, it's shock jock face, that exploitive face. Like that's what they're doing. They're exploiting Kanye. Kanye is not their friend. He's a tool, a wrecking ball, and they're using him. They're exploiting the shit out of him. Kanye has a mental illness. He should be hospitalized, not exploited. So, and that's what they're doing, and you can see them egging him on. They get that overbite, that exploit face is what I call it. Just as the crack whore is about to shove that banana up her ass. And that's what Kanye is. He's basically the broken human being about to do something disgusting for their entertainment. That's exactly what Kanye is. He's being exploited for their entertainment, but it's not entertainment for them. He's exploiting them for revenge on Trump. That's what it is. But Kanye is displaying every. Kanye was on Tim Pool, and like I said, up until this point, I was ready to pull the trigger and vote for him over Trump. 2 minutes into the interview, Tim asks a simple question: "Who's they?" Because he's saying "they" as in the Jews, as Chappelle put it. There's two words you don't put together, and that's the word "the" and the word "Jews," because it never ends well. He's talking about the Jews and using the word "they" as a euphemism for the Jews. And he was talking, I don't even remember the context now, but he's like, "they." Now, you remember from 7th and 8th grade English class, whenever you use a pronoun without specifying, because a pronoun is basically a variable, like in math, It's like A plus 2. Well, you don't know what A is until someone tells you what A is. So in English works the same way as math. You don't know what the pronoun is until you specify what the variable is. Who's they? If I said he went to the store, you don't know who the hell I'm talking about. So the English teacher would say, if I said to the English teacher, he went to the store, the English teacher would say, who's he? If I said they went to the bank, who's they? Because you didn't specify. You're just throwing out the pronoun without specifying who they are. So Tim, acting as English teacher, said, who's they? And Kanye up and walks out. Could you imagine if Kanye did that shit on let's say he got the nomination and he's going up against Biden on a CBS debate with clowns who were already against him, where they basically the moderators are acting on behalf of Biden, and that if I was a CBS moderator, that'd be the first words out of my mouth. Kanye, who's they? That'd be the first thing I say. He'd walk out. Joe Biden would win the debate. Boom. Kanye would up and walk out of the debate because I, as the moderator, said, "Who's they?" So that was the first incident. Okay, that really tipped me off. So then I started. I was like, what is this? What's going on with him? So then he shows up on Alex Jones, and that's where things really went off the rails. And for Alex Jones to get visibly uncomfortable, it went off the rails in a really horrible way. Now, I get what Kanye was kind of getting at, but optics, like I said, I tend to focus on context, but most people focus on optics. The optics here are really, really bad. I mean, the optics are beyond bad. As they're going to break, Alex goes, look, I don't like the Nazis. I don't like Hitler. And just a split second before Kanye goes, I like Hitler. And the left ran that soundbite no end. It was on every single news broadcast from here to Timbuktu. Every single one. It was on every single broadcast. So when they got back from break, it's like, what are you talking? Now, I get what Kanye was saying in a fucked up way. He's saying as a Christian, and in the Christian belief, he believes as a Christian, because this is what Christians believe, is that you're not supposed to hate anyone, even an evil person. You're supposed to be able to be redeemed. If you choose it, your redemption is supposed to be available to you. Even Hitler was redeemable. He just chose not to be. So I get what he was saying, that you're not supposed to hate even the most evil person. You're not supposed to even hate Jeffrey Dahmer or any of the Charlie Manson. You're not supposed to hate anyone according to their belief. Okay, and I get that. Okay, fine, but it's the optics. I mean, you just got done saying that you don't like Hitler, that you love Hitler, and then you go on espousing positives about Hitler. Most of them weren't even true, like inventing highways. Hitler did not invent highways. And microphones. Hitler did not invent microphones. If you're going to bring up positives about Hitler, at least, make sure that they're true statements. Don't just pull them out of your ass. So right away, I said, he's showing signs of schizoaffective. Right away, I recognized it. I said, holy shit, that's... And I did a Google search, and in 2017, there was a medical professional that diagnosed him. Of course, it's hard to diagnose someone without, them being in your office. But he came up with schizoaffective disorder, which is exactly, because I typed in it exactly that way, Kanye schizoaffective disorder. And sure enough, there was one expert that actually came up with the same thing that I thought. Because everyone was coming up with all these other diagnoses. I said, no. I said, I know schizoaffective disorder really well. Up close and personal, well. Okay? To the point where I could be an expert on it. Okay? I had a friend who had schizoaffective disorder. And you don't know what fucked up is until you have a friend or relative with schizoaffective disorder. You don't know the kind of fucked up you can get until you have that. I mean, that was a brand new level of fucked up. That I've seen a lot of fucked up things in my life, but that was fucked up to the nth level, to levels you can't even imagine. Uh, Basically, there's moments of cogence and lucidity, and then there's moments where they are really off the rails to the point where it's scary, and I don't scare easy. I mean, I've had moments in my life where I've faced death and never broke a sweat, and there was shit that came out of my friend's mouth that turned me white, sheet white, where I was sweating. Am I gonna be dead in the next 5 seconds? Because like he would go from the moments where like you're perfectly comfortable being around him to moments where like you were just scared to be around him. He was hearing voices, and Kanye is showing all the signs that my buddy had. Now, eventually, my friend ended up on psychotropics, which helped, and eventually, I wouldn't say cured because he was basically the meds were doing all the work. You're never really cured once you're psychoaffective, schizoaffective, excuse me. But the problem with psychotropics is psychotropics will eventually cause weight gain. I had not only my friend, but I had two cousins who were on psychotropics because they got into, back in the 70s, the cocaine thing was big and they got on it. And part of their inheritance revolved around them being committed for life. But what the psychotropics will do is cause extreme weight gain. And my friend was extremely skinny, well built. I mean, this guy I had a 20-foot Bayliner trophy that he towed across Lake Opakong. Opakong Lake was 13 miles end to end, and he would tow that 20-foot Bayliner with a 125 horsepower engine, and he would tow it. He would just wrap a rope around him and swim it from one end of the lake to the other, healthy as a horse. He ended up ballooning once he was on the psychotropics. My other two cousins were on the second, and they were like, my wrist would have been wider than they were. They ended up blowing up to like 400 or 500 pounds. And then once you gain the weight, then what ends up in my friend's case, he got male breast cancer, and then it metastasized to the bone, and then it went into the brain. Now I kind of almost wonder if he had the brain cancer all along, but the psychotropics will cause weight gain and cancer. They just will. Like I said, I know mental illness. I've been around people who've had it, and also as a minister and being in different organizations. I was with the Sussex County Association of Retarded People, SCARC, as retarded citizens, back in the late 80s, early 90s. And also with, actually SCARC actually for longer than that. Then DDD, Department of Development of the Disabled. We had two clients that we took care of. Basically, we were like almost like a foster family for them. And so, believe me, I know mental illness. Like I said, friends, family. I've worked in the field. I've dealt with a number of people over the years. I have extensive background in this. I'm trained in this. Okay, and let me tell you, Kanye is schizoaffective disorder, no doubt. And you've got two shock jocks, basically Milo Yiannopoulos and Nick Fuentes, both anti-Semites. And like I said, when the left said it, I didn't believe it. But now the more research I do into them, I'm like, holy shit, they really are. These guys are who the left, because usually when the left says something, I just throw it off to the side, because shit just comes out of the left's mouth, and I've gotten over the years. I've gotten to the point where I just disregard everything they say. But again, a broken clock is like in the case of Michael Moore. Every once in a while the clock is right. This time they're right. These two assholes need to be avoided at all costs. These two morons are not to be trusted, and they are using Kanye. Kanye should be in a mental institution getting help, and instead you've got two Howard Stern type shock jock scumbags, basically with a crack whore in their studio trying to get the banana up her ass, and you should not be angry at Kanye, nor should you be cheering this on. Kanye needs help. Anyway, that's the video. But like I said, I'm so mad I can't even put together a cogent. Because like I said, as soon as I see it, I'm like, my friend died of this. Okay, it does not end well. And even if he gets the help, and even if he gets the proper meds, the help and the meds will end up killing him eventually, if these two assholes don't get him killed first. Someone needs to intervene here. There really needs to be an intervention. Kanye needs help.